And when something begins to rear its face and hinder me, I'm going to lay it down at the altar, set it on fire, put it to death, and resurrect this new belief, these new ideals that are going to lead me to being a better person. And so we're probably all aware of the Greek mythological symbol, the phoenix, and which the Egyptians adopted this symbolic motif and brought it to the world. And this overarching idea of death and resurrection that the phoenix represents. And if you are unaware of the phoenix, this colorful bird usually represented through red and yellows and oranges, believed to be almost a sun god-like representation who is immortal and in the mythological sense can live up to 500 years before its end comes near. And when the end approaches, it builds this altar in which it lays itself in the altar, violently claps its wings together, igniting a fire, setting itself in this combustible flame, in which it burns to ashes, and this new creature arises from the ashes, a new phoenix, a death and a resurrection. But not only that, the new phoenix gathers up the ashes of the old and forms them into some egg and embalms them with myrrh, and then picks up the egg and takes it to the city of light, representing illumination, representing where you can see everything as it is. And not only that, but you see everything as what it can be. And it lays this egg in front of the city of light at the sun god for a sacrifice. It takes its old ashes, the old self, and sacrifices it to the sun god, sacrifices it to illumination, sacrifices it to the ultimate truth, the ultimate reality, and then goes on living for another 500 years before it draws near to another end, sacrifices the old so it can resurrect the new, takes the old and lays it down as a sacrifice. And this is a beautiful representation, a beautiful illustration of our true nature, our true being. And as addicts, God, wouldn't we love to take the old and sacrifice it so that we could resurrect this new? And not only that, but then take the old nature, the old beliefs, the old patterns, the old addictions, use those as a sacrifice, take those to the city of light, the ultimate truth, the ultimate illumination, God himself, and lay those down as a sacrifice, saying, this is the old, but I'm going to sacrifice the old behavior so that it can become this illuminated, new, resurrected phoenix, this immortal being that is reaching new levels of existence. Beautiful illustration of our potential. As humans, as beings, we have this immortal nature within us. Call it what you may, but energy, life, God, truth, intuition, that gut instinct, there's something within us that's going to live forever, that's been around forever. And if we can grab a hold of that and to begin to sacrifice the old parts, put them to death, gather them up, lay them down at the feet of truth, higher purpose, God, whatever you want to call it, and say, hey, I'm sacrificing my old self. I'm sacrificing my own beliefs. I'm sacrificing the bullshit that has kept me at bay from my true potential. And I'm going to strive for the next level through this resurrected state. And then, through that period of time, when bullshit continues to add up and ignorance continues to pile up, I'm going to gather that up, build my altar, set myself on flame, die to the old self, resurrect in this new being, gather up all the bullshit and sacrifice that, never again to pick it up, to say, hey, I'm this new creature reaching new levels. I'm not the old person. I lay it down. Here it is, life. Take it from me. Bear that burden for me. I'm going to move on. And again, that doesn't mean that obstacles are not going to rise. That doesn't mean that we're still going to be in some form of ignorance and that darkness and shadow will not rear its ugly head. But then, We have the ability, and this may be on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a yearly basis, however you want to self-examine and evaluate yourself. But whether it be on a daily basis, a weekly basis, we lay down the things that are hindering from approaching our true self. We sacrifice those to truth and to the lasting principles and say, okay, I'm no longer going to go that way. That's the old man. That's the old self. That's the old behaviors. That's the old addiction. I am now in this constant state of leveling up. And when something begins to rear its face and hinder me, I'm going to lay it down at the altar, set it on fire, put it to death, and resurrect this new belief, these new ideals that are going to lead me to being a better person, a heroic person, a man of heroic nature that is striving towards that city of light, the city of illumination, where I can see all things not only as they are, but what they can be. I begin to lay down the sacrifices of old self, put them to death so that I can soar to the city of light, see my potential, see who I am, and quit laying in the pit of despair, the pit of hell that has kept me from reaching my city of light, my heroic way. It's a beautiful illustration, a beautiful representation of what we can do as addicts, trying to put to death the old self so that we find our true nature. You are the phoenix. Set the old man on fire, gather up those ashes so that you can be the resurrected new person, a sober, clean, clear-headed person that is sacrificing the old ways so that you begin to put your foothold on the steps that ascend you towards a mountain of illumination, a mountain of light, a mountain of hope, a mountain where you are king of the damn mountain, a hero, looking down on the old self, the old patterns, and realizing what you're capable of. You are a hero, no longer having to lay in the horrible waste of your past behaviors and past decisions. Choose to be the phoenix, set them on fire, resurrect that new person, and continue to level up. You have this immortal nature within you that knows all things if you would only adhere to the principles of life that suggest you can be more, that you are more. You are a hero. Set that asshole on fire, pick up the ashes, lay that sacrifice down to the higher power, the higher conscious, whatever you want to call it, and move on with your life. You guys will hear from me next episode.